Find the x-intercepts and the coordinates of the vertex for the parabola y equals negative x squared plus 4x minus 4 if there's more than one x-intercept, separate them with commas. So anyway, to find the x-intercepts in vertex, you can do it in any order that you like. You can find the vertex first by doing x equals negative b over 2a. This is to find the x value of your vertex. And then you would take this value and you would plug it back into your original equation to find y. But I'm going to show you an easier way to do that today. So instead of using this equation and finding the x value of the vertex and then the y value of the vertex and then finding the x-intercepts separately, I'm going to have you find the x-intercepts first, and then we'll find the midpoint to find the x value of the vertex. And I'll show you how that works. So to find x-intercepts, you can factor this or you can use the quadratic formula. Now remember that the quadratic formula is x equals negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac. Now you don't have to think about it. So x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. This is to find x-intercepts. I'm going to use factoring to find the x-intercepts, but this is a surefire way. This will find any x-intercepts of any quadratic equation. So by factoring, I know that an x-intercept, the definition of an x-intercept is when y is equal to 0. So I'm going to set this equation equal to 0. So 0 equals negative x squared plus 4x minus 4. So there are several different methods of how to factor, and you can view a video that we have posted of different methods of factoring. So we're not going to cover that too much here. I'm going to just go ahead and factor this. So I'm going to first factor it by factoring out a negative 1 because it's easier to factor when your leading coefficient, this term here, is positive. Now if I divided both sides by negative 1, this would cancel out. And on the right hand side I'm just left with 0 equals x squared minus 4x plus 4. So again, like I said, you can view another video to see how to factor, but I'm going to just factor this. And then I'm going to take each factor and I'm going to set it equal to 0. Now notice that each factor is the same. This is not always going to be the case. Sometimes your factors will be different. But either way, take your factors, set each individual one equal to 0. Since in this case they're the same, I'm going to just take one of them and set it equal to 0. So x minus 2 equals 0. That comes from here. Solving for x, I'm going to add 2 to both sides. Whatever you do to one side, always make sure you do it to the other. So you have x equals 2. This is your only x-intercept. Now, if you had 2 separate x-intercepts, what you would do is you would take each individual x-intercept, add them together, and divide by 2. This is going to find the midpoint. So if I have this parabola, let's say, and I found this x-intercept and this x-intercept, let's just, for general terms, call that A and B. And I wanted to find the vertex. Well, the midpoint, this center here, the midpoint between my x-intercept is going to give me the x value of my vertex. So I would take A and B, add them together, and divide by 2. And this is going to be the x value of my vertex. Then, like I said earlier, once you found the x value of your vertex, you would take that back and plug it into your original equation to find y. So in our case here, though, we only have one x-intercept. So we can then assume that our x-intercept and our x value of a vertex share the same point. So the x value of the vertex is going to be the exact same. I'm sorry. Now the y value of our vertex, as you can see from this graph, is going to be 0. So the way you would plug this into Alex, your x-intercepts would be 2, and your coordinate for your vertex would be 2, 0.